I don't know how well this is gonna come off, but I was thinking about something and I had to get it recorded. I have not uploaded a video in a long time. There have been some major changes in my life, and ramblings on is quite... life's a ramble, I guess you'd call it. But okay, this is not a computer video. More of a thought about the coronavirus pandemic, the relief program, let's be honest. Okay. First off, I'll state the fact that, yes, I understand both sides of I'm trying to quit the problem. Aisle, and their decision-making on it, the way they think. I get the conservatives that, yes, someone has to pay for it's simply added to the debt, and responsibly, you don't want to do that. And I get the liberals where shit's needed. But it is the conservatives. Now, first off, I am a Republican, and I did vote for Donald Trump, at least at first. He turned out to be a little bit crazy. But I believe maybe that was a problem with him not being able to handle the pressure to act different than he is, because the main reason I voted for Donald Trump to begin with was, he's an asshole. I mean, he is, but he is different than what you normally saw on the ticket. He was a blunt, upfront, tell you the truth, piece of shit, motherfucking asshole. And I'd rather have that than some same old crooked politician. He ended up being somewhat of what I thought, but what ended is he ended up being quite not capable. Not that I agree with Biden. I didn't vote the second time because there was nothing on the ballot I liked. It is not my responsibility as a citizen to vote. It is my right, and I chose not to exercise it. In the end, back on topic, I understand the conservatives' point of view. It is to be cheap. Let's be honest. To conserve one's wealth, even though it's not theirs. And I understand the liberals' sense of put enough out there to make sure it's enough, versus the conservatives, see what we need and then go from there. I mean, picture it as you have a half a jar of jelly and you got to feed 10 people's toast. Do you want to go on there and see how many you can get to, or do you want to, reserve and make sure there's enough to go around, but not give each one enough? It's a balancing act, I know. They're oil and water philosophies. But I'm kind of leaning towards I'm not under any party's umbrella at this point. See, the coronavirus, I'm not trying to make this too long. The coronavirus pandemic relief bills, I understand how both sides feel. And the independents, they're more like liberals than anything. So, I mean, being a Republican is a very polarizing thing. You're either Republican, clearly, or you're not a Republican. That's it. And yes, I see the Republican as the old white man group. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm actually of the camp that they should do what's necessary. They said they don't want future generations to inherit our debt. They're already going to. But see, I'd rather make sure, if I was decision-making, the one to do so, I would rather make sure that there's enough and deal with that consequence later than have everything fall apart. Where right now, paychecks are not enough if they exist, and people on any other programs, they're tightening belts too. So when your people are starving or hurting or needing, the last thing you want to do with someone that needs help and you want to help them is be cheap. And people talk about, oh, the future generation is going to inherit it. Yes, they will. They're already going to inherit a fucked up country, system, and way of life that other cultures have pushed onto us. But the problem with that is they're also what you're investing in right now. Because the people that you would pay these stimulus checks and benefits and unemployment, whatever it is, the people you would pay that to, they're raising the future generation. So you're technically putting an insurance policy in to ensure that the next generation not only doesn't inherit a bunch of a clusterfuck of a country, but a possible, upbringing that's not Great Depression number 2. What you're going, and yeah, I know that's not going to happen. I mean, it's not. It's not as big. It's not going to happen as I stated. There won't be no Great Depression number 2. Great Depression number 2 is not going to happen because of the infrastructure we have now versus then. But my point is this: and if you don't get my point by now, you should be watching my videos. I'd rather my children inherit a debt than have no country to inherit the debt from. We're going to have to understand that, these fucking old people in Congress, senior citizens, they have to understand one thing. You're investing in the future for there to be one. Because these mouths that are fed by these stimulus payments and benefits and programs and all that, these benefit, whatever, the money goes to the future generations. You're investing in the present and future so they can have one. That's the problem. These senior citizens sitting in $84 million worth of chairs, they need to understand something, that this money is not theirs and they are elected to do what is right with it. Now, you can't not spend. If spending wasn't a part of the job, there'd be no need for them. Taxpayers would simply pay into an infinitely inflating account, and that's be it. The role of someone who is charged with managing, distributing, and overwatching a fund like the government money, their role is twofold at least. One, to ensure that it comes in the proper amounts, and also to ensure that it is applied to proper situations. And that is this. They have only one tool to work with in this situation. It is money. It is money. It is money. That's all. Yeah, the decision making, yeah. But when it comes to this relief pandemic shit, they have one job. That is to apply money where it is necessary in the proper amounts. And that, I think, is where the big problem comes in. What do they consider appropriate? And how much? And where? Now, I understand funding states and everything like that, but when it comes down to the people, you can't depend on any one state to be able to fully take care of its own people. Hence why the federal government exists, besides the conspiracy theories, which I do subscribe to some of them. But anyway, the point is, their job is to dole out the cash when and where and how necessary. Now, I don't know about you, but I've seen the numbers of unemployment. I've seen people in my own life that are both working and not. They're both, not so much the working people, but some, but mostly the non. They are really not getting by great. And I know some people will go, they're not meant to. But you also have people that are working, but still in that very low income bracket. And all this fighting over what they need, it isn't their job to decide what they need. It's their job to decide how to provide what they actually need. And if you listen to them, They'll tell you. So, this is an open letter to Congress. There's a reason why people gave you death threats. You're a bunch of old men and women, if I'm allowed to use those phrases. If I'm not, fuck you. It is your job to care for the current and future country. And you can't do that looking like a grandma with your purse strings out